A very warm good morning and good afternoon, depending upon the time zone you are in. A very warm welcome to our panelists this morning at the Enalito's Thriving E-Commerce Summit 2020. First of all, I would like to really say thank you for taking out time today. And I must say we have great individuals today on the panel with us. All of them are experienced and have a ton of experience in the retail business, and they are going to share some exciting insights about how they have built their businesses and how they have grown their businesses to scale. Without further ado, I would like to make a formal introduction of our panelists this morning. First, I would like to begin with Stephanie. Stephanie Morimoto is the CEO at Asutra. And at Asutra, Stephanie is passionate about helping people take care of themselves so that they can get the most out of their life. And they have built 50 organic natural products and natural solutions to help with pain relief and skin care. And Asutra, they are being kind of working very, very hard to make sure that they are empowering women. So it is a women-owned and women-led business, and 73% of their team is, they have huge diversity within their team. Prior to Asutra, Stephanie has been instrumental in working with organizations where she has generated more than $500 million of revenue. And she has been instrumental in Teach for America and has worked with several high-performing teams. She has begun her career at McKinsey, and followed by that, she is currently leading this business. And she is an enthusiastic board member at Equality Illinois, which advocates for the LGBTQ rights. And she has been really, really working hard to go ahead and fulfill her brand's purpose. Stephanie, a very warm welcome to the panel discussion.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Great. The next we have on the panel is Nicolas. Nicolas is a consumer internet entrepreneur, and he's also the CEO at Palate Club based out of New York. Nicolas has been an entrepreneur and a serial entrepreneur building consumer products in tech and software, enabling major industry changes. And he has built ambitious companies from scratch since the last 2 decades. And he believed in new ideas and innovation mindset, wherein he believes in putting people together to build great products. And currently he is working on his business Palate Club, which is into the premium food and beverage space with a focus on wine. And they are trying to create a great consumer experience around consumers' personal taste using data science. And its Palate Club is live in California since 2018. Prior to Palate Club, Nicolas has been working in several different verticals such as travel, e-commerce, ad tech companies, and he regularly helps other ventures, particularly cross-border US and France. Nicolas, a very warm welcome to the panel discussion.
Hello, everyone. Happy to be here.
Wonderful. The next we have on the panel with us, Josh Behr. Josh is the Director of E-Commerce and Digital Marketing at Amerex Group based out of New York. And Josh has previously worked as Digital Marketing Director at various brands such as Jack Threads, Black Pyramid, Hudson Outerwear, Hardwick, Wright, Genesis. Josh has a bachelor's degree in accounting from City University of New York, College of Staten Island. And at Amerex Group, he is handling the entire e-commerce thing. And they are into swimwear, activewear, and sportswear brand. So a lot of insight that Josh is going to share today. Josh, a very, very warm welcome to the panel discussion.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Wonderful. So I must say, this is going to be an exciting session, and let's get started. And I would like to start with this first question to all of you. Purpose. What is the purpose of your brand? I would like to start with probably maybe Stephanie to begin with.
Sure. Well, you gave everyone a preview on this. You know, the purpose of our brand is what we call active self-care. That's our mission. We want to help people take care of themselves on purpose so they can take on anything in life. You mentioned that we focus a lot on empowering women, which we do. We're obviously women-owned, women-led. We're very lucky to have an incredible co-owner, global tennis champion Venus Williams is actually one of our part owners at Asutra and our chief brand officer. And I'm happy to talk more about that story and how she partners with us. But at Asutra, we're all about helping women in particular who are often trained to take care of everybody except themselves to make time in their day, whether it's 5 minutes in the morning for a great skincare routine or 10 minutes at night to get ready for a great night's sleep, to rejuvenate, to refresh, so they can go get them the next day.
Wow, wonderful, wonderful. So that's a very strong purpose you got there. And I must say, having Venus at your side is like, I think that's an inspiring force. And she has been a great leader. I always look at every sports person as a leader because they inspire millions of people. And kudos to your team that you are taking this forward. And I think with her at your side, sky's the limit. Excellent. I would like to move to Kevin. Kevin, purpose. You have spent so much of time building businesses. What is that purpose that helped kind of made you think about this new business in the field of wine? Yes, Kevin.
Oh, you meant the question to me, Nicolas. Yeah, well, our purpose is simple, it's happiness. It's enjoying life better through taste. I think it's with all the healthiness questions about food and beverages and, you know, all the current trends, I think the good taste, good product, enjoying it, enjoying what you eat and drink is a little bit the forgotten piece in the past trends and 10 years. So we want to represent that in the eyes of the consumer, and that's definitely what our brand conveys. So that's our main purpose.
Oh, amazing, amazing. So you are solving that particular challenge, or I think it's a problem statement that you have picked up and you're building your business on the top of it. Amazing. Josh, coming to you. You have been a leader in the field of e-commerce and digital marketing. How are you aligned with the purpose of your brand?
So one of the brands that we're mainly focused on is a women's swimwear brand called Blue Rock Beatty, where the focus is on any age, any size, any woman. You know, that's really the mandate of what we're going after, where everyone, you know, we want everyone to feel beautiful in their swimsuit. And the designer, Rod Beatty, who has been a swimsuit legend for quite some time, takes a lot of pride in what he designs, you know, making sure that everyone can feel beautiful in their swimsuit. So that's where we're driving towards.
Wow, amazing, amazing. So I think you also picked up that niche and working to build it. Uh, uh, I think that one question that always come to my mind, you start a business and you reach a scale, let's say, which you call it as your threshold, step one that you have conquered. From that step one to take your business to that growth, to that hyper growth stage, what is that one strategy that you as leaders have adopted to make sure that your brand has been admired? And like, let's say if you're doing $1 million business, what is that one strategy that you adopt to take it to the next 10 million? I mean, anything in particular? Probably Kevin, if you can share some light on it. Oh, sorry, Nicolas.
Yeah. So in my mind, any type of consumer businesses, and particularly when you are consumer-facing products, such as we have with an app at the Palate Club, the only thing that matters before you want to scale anything is product market fit. So that means there's a lot of back and forth iterations with features, and you have to be completely obsessed about what the consumers tell you, right? What they're your first users. So this is what we did for almost 2 years. where at some point you figure you reach the product market fit, which enables scalability. Then the other factor is actually that your operations are ready to scale. So it's not only like, okay, I'm throwing marketing dollars and it's going to scale. It has to be effective in everything else, logistics and customer service and all these things. So I see your question a little bit like a airplane taking off. Before you take off, you have to make sure you have all the dots pulled at the right direction.
Correct.
And yeah, and then you can actually pull in and use the fuel to take off, right? So product market fit is definitely, I mean, my opinion, and it's a continuous quest after that anyway, to continue to adjust. And I would like the last piece, which is not so easy in many businesses, is also the size of the addressable market. This is often where entrepreneurs in our space, in general consumer space, get it wrong. Or I mean, I'm including myself in number of ventures I've done before. Is you have an imagination of your addressable market or core addressable market where your product is definitely a very good fit, and then the size of that immediately addressable market is definitely a very big component to be able to enter hypergrowth. So yeah, and there's more to say about other factors such as viral effects, network effects, which come into play as well. So these are either embedded in your product or in your market or just in your business model, and these are also things you have to watch, whether how fast you can actually grow. So obviously, if you have both viral and network effects, then your business can scale much faster. But these are the things I'm looking at any company, and particularly, of course, the one I run.
That's true. That's true. I think you touched that point very nicely. I think the product market fit thing and being ready for that hyper growth with all of your foundation kind of very, very strong to take it to the next level. Amazing. Josh, I would like to come to you, and you have been leading marketing for a brand and in the fashion business, which is a very niche business. And what is that one or two strategy that you adopt in order to reach out to your target audience or to acquire those new customers that may have never heard about your brand? What is that one thing that you do?
The biggest thing that we have found that works is really putting in front of the consumer someone that they can see and understand. So, using the swimsuit as a reference, sometimes people don't want to see the size 4 model in a swimsuit. They want to see someone that looks like them, feels like them, so we try to put out, we think from a consumer mindset, right? Which I think is the most important thing. So we try to project, where they want to be, where they want to aspire to, how they want to feel in that swimsuit, feel proud of how they look. We feel that to be the most important thing, in describing our brand, right? Visually, people want to see it, and then with our copy, explaining the brand values behind it has really led to the growth of the brand. Might have lost him.
So you're saying resonating with the consumers. So by creating a product which kind of finds the resonance with the consumers.
Yeah. So going back to what Nicolas said, right? Finding that product market fit and then honing in on, the imagery behind it, the messaging behind it has really helped lead to the growth. We put the customer first, ensuring their happiness, going above and beyond for them, whether it's from a customer service, ad standpoint, anything that we can do, ensuring that they receive the right fit of their product, which is very important, especially in swimwear. Right, it's a very difficult thing to measure, especially when you're purchasing online. So how do we make that very easy for the consumer is, that's where we're looking to drive for.
Excellent thought. Absolutely. I think that's very, very true. Stephanie, I would like to come to you, and you are in this very unique space, and where you already have a competition. How do you plan, or what unique things do you do to differentiate your brand from your competition?
Yeah, so we sort of straddle the wellness space and the beauty space because we have products that help with things like pain relief and sleep, but we also have skincare and bath and body products. So I think what Nicolas said about product market fit is so key. And I remember talking to the founder of RX Bar, the nutrition bar that ended up selling for hundreds of millions of dollars. And the founder there said something that really stuck with me is also don't believe your own story on product market fit, right? You as a founder can get so excited about the products that you're making and just think they're exactly the right solution, but you really have to keep pushing yourself to keep asking your customers, is this right? Is the market really responding? Are you really seeing that growth?
Yeah.
And for us, you know, what's been so important in providing a unique set of solutions is that they're actually solutions. So all of the products that we offer have some kind of functional benefit as well as a really great sensorial experience. So you might use one of our magnesium lotions and it works in relieving pain. And once you find something that helps you relieve pain, especially if you suffer from chronic pain, you're going to stick with it. But it also feels good when you put it on and it smells nice versus being an icky experience, which I think a lot of the other pain relief creams are out there. And then I think Josh is so right too, right? Your customers want to see themselves in your marketing. You mentioned we're very diverse on our staff. We're also really committed to being diverse and inclusive in our marketing and who we feature in our marketing and the customers that use our product and amplifying their voices. So I think our customers also appreciate seeing some version of themselves in how we're telling our story, our brand values, and how our products can help them.
That's great.
And then of course, Venus. Venus is also a differentiator for us.
That's a great distinction, I believe. And yeah, I think that's the way to go. I think once you have found the product market fit, your early adapters or the consumers become your ambassadors and they stick with you. I think once the product market fit is there, I think they are the ones who spread the word out and they are the ones who drive that next set of customers coming to your store. Excellent thought there. I think you nailed it. Amazing. The next question that I have for all of you is the last 6 months have been challenging, definitely. And offline has been completely kind of the channel that ultimately was the most important thing for any business has suddenly taken a hit, and the online world has evolved and adapted very quickly. Uh, how was the last 5 to 6 months for you as a business, and what unique things did you do to make sure that you are able to serve your consumers during this challenging time? Maybe I can come to Josh.
Thankfully, with everyone moving online, business has grown over the last 5 or 6 months. Which has been great for the business as people are looking more and more and spending more time on the computer. So allowing, for more inventory in the ad process, which has been really great for growth. One thing that we really focused in over the last 5 or 6 months is looking at the type of content that we're putting out, right? Generally, when you're thinking of swimwear, you're thinking about vacation. So, we had to be careful with how we messaged, the swimsuits, knowing that people weren't able to travel during that time. But how can we help promote a healthy lifestyle, besides always promoting swimwear, whether we were talking about books to read or workouts that you can do that are online for free, really just promoting, while we know that people were stuck home for a majority of the time, promote a positive, happy lifestyle, while also obviously looking to at times promote swimsuits, whether it's small gatherings in the backyard, tanning, wherever you could, maybe wear a swimsuit. But our main focus was really not on selling the swimsuit. It was adapting to people's mindsets, and we saw tremendous growth as people really appreciated it, not always just being a fastball of sales down their throat.
Excellent thought. So I must say that's a great insight that you shared there, like understanding the consumer behavior and positioning your content where it can have the maximum resonance. And that way, when people connect with that content, they automatically would like to know more about the product, and the new customer acquisition can be done. Great insight there. Kevin, you are establishing this wine business and you have already uh, kind of reached that stage where the wine business is like there is competition and you have entered a very congested space. So how do you distinguish your business vis-a-vis the competition, Nicolas? I'm sorry about.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to say about that. Since your question initially was about, the past 6 months,
Mhm.
well, in our case, we were very lucky. I mean, I'm not happy about the pandemic. Obviously, this is a very bad thing. But in the case of wine, and the wine business is to start with, before the pandemic, it's a market which is very late online. Okay, it's only less than 3% for a number of factors, regulations. Very hard to ship alcohol interstate, and the value of bottles, the shipping cost, and there are many factors which made wine really, really late as opposed to other products, other retail products. So the pandemic was just an enormous push of people finally realizing that actually there are very good solutions to buy wine online. And it is a very competitive market, not only online, but in general. You can, of course, get wine from everywhere. So if you want to thrive there, you have to make a difference and bring a new product. So this, again, in our case, was very aligned with the fact that people had to stay home. Because our experience is very different, because it's based on blind tasting. It's based on the fact that you discover your personal taste. It's also a little bit wine education and wine discovery. Let's say it's a fast track for not only millennials, but anybody who, at some point thinks, okay, this is very hard to guess and to understand wine. I don't want to spend 20 years. Actually, you really need to be a professional to understand wine. Even people think of themselves like as wine connoisseurs when they're in front of a blind tasting. It's kind of humility session where you figure out, well, it is more complicated than I thought. So we're basically solving that problem in general by making it fun. And it's particularly aligned with the fact that, if you have time at home and you're drinking a good glass of wine, you might as well enjoy it, right? And enjoy the experience and learn something on the way. So our experience, which was designed not for the pandemic, obviously, but previously and completely online with an app and everything, was a perfect fit for those past 6 months. And in general, obviously, the people, I mean, the wine online market has been growing crazy, like between 70s, 100%, depending on the market research you read. But it comes from very low number, right? When you're talking less than 3%, for instance, in China, 25% of wines are sold online. So you see the huge gap of cultural way of buying. And I always think that, so if you look at the numbers right now, the pandemic is a boost, right? Like in many other sectors, in food and beverage in general. So probably you're going to see double growth in the next 3-4 years as it was planned previous pandemic, but also because you start with much lower numbers. So I always think that if you want a change of behavior happening, okay, this is like an external factor. So this is the black swan, which in our case is kind of a white swan. But you need to have components in your product and in your experience that are really differentiating and that are solving problems. So, and that accelerates the factor. And this is why, so more recently we have more, more traction also in the press, because we start to get noticed as something really innovating And the last thing I want to say here is that this is America. So there is a lot of marketing gimmicks. There is a lot of, overselling things. And, in the case of our industry, wine, which is very, very particular because you have a million SKUs, literally, it's really hard to figure out. You have all sorts of people which are telling you that this $6 bottle shipped to your home, which means since there are shipping costs, that is like $1 worth of wine, is like premium selected, one of the best, etc. So there are, you get what you pay for. So it's a market where every time there is an opportunity, and I'm coming to my point, is you will always have scams and people coming in with fake promises and saying, and that's to resonate to a competition question, right? So we are doing the right thing with data science backed and really like very, very strong feature embedded in the product. We're making our customers super happy with like very, very strong retention.
Wonderful.
But it's in a very growing market online, but it is sometimes hard when you see a lot of like people doing, like all sorts of marketing tactics, which are not really in the interest of the consumer. So anyway.
Great. I must say that's an excellent insight that you shared there. I mean, being transparent with your consumers and making sure what they pay for, they're getting the best. I think the experience matters. And in today's world, I think that differentiation should always stay there. I think the one question that always comes to my mind in retail is, after establishing a brand and once you have acquired a certain number of customers, how do you guys plan on kind of making sure that your retention is the best? How do you plan on understanding the consumer behavior? What tools do you use to understand your consumer behavior? And how do you plan on retaining those customers so that you can derive the maximum lifetime value from those early adopters? Any thought that you guys have given? Maybe I can ask this question to Stephanie.
Sure. To be totally candid, I would say this is a work in progress for us. I think, as Nicolas said, it's a constant journey to keep making sure that you're serving your customers well, and that's certainly how we view it as well. I think for us, in particular, we look at a couple of things. So one, we do some segmentation of our customers. We know who our VIPs are, if you will, those who return the most, spend the most. We have a referral program, so that's also a great way to see which of our customers are helping us spread the word and therefore are the most engaged. Right. We definitely look at reviews and how happy people are with the products and areas for improvement. And then we do look at our customer return rate over time. And obviously we want to see that as we acquire different cohorts of customers, we look at our customer acquisition on a quarterly basis. So we look at each quarter's cohort and we see how they're returning over time. And then based on what we did to acquire customers in that quarter, what are the things that are working the best? One of the big things that we want to do a better job of is also really understanding how different customer segments journey looks with us over time. And therefore, how do we want to guide new customers through their experience at Asutra? So do they start with one product and then move on to other products? And what does that timeline look like so that we can try to help other customers have a similar and exciting journey with Asutra?
Great, excellent. So you are kind of thinking in that direction and you're taking steps to make sure that you're learning about the consumer behavior to serve them better with the best possible experience. Great. Josh, how about you? Like after this established brand and I think acquiring these customers, early adapters, what are the things that you do as a brand owner to make sure that you have the maximum customer engagement and retention?
So we're looking, through analytics. Thankfully having a math background was super helpful here. So we're looking at time from first purchase. How long did they take to make their first purchase? Then we're looking for second and third purchases, and then we tried to derive the frequency in which our consumers buy, and obviously by product type it's very different, right? Swimwear, maybe they're not buying 3 or 4 times in a few months, but trying to find that timeline, and then sequencing out our some email flows where we have best guesses based upon when they have purchased. Are they people really just looking for a discount? Are they always looking for that next new arrival? And really pushing them in the direction of where we see them historically, and making sure that we're trying to send the right message at the right time. It's not a perfect science, and it's always, to everyone's point, adapting and changing, right? What we thought we knew 5 or 6 months ago has already changed in the last few months, so, we're always striving, to ensure that the LTV of our customer is as high as possible. So it's an ever-growing battle, but as long as we ensure that the customer experience is great, generally we have found that they do come back over time.
Wonderful, wonderful, great insight there. Nicolas, in terms of in wine business, we have seen like a rapid growth, and the consumers that you have acquired in the last 6 months, as you mentioned earlier, that you use data science. What different kinds of consumer behavior that you analyze, let's say, because even in the consumer behavior, there are like different types of behavior, such as the recency behavior, the monetary behavior, the frequency behavior, the average order value behavior, or discount sensitivity behavior. And that can be extrapolated to multiple consumer behavior dimensions. So what typically, which you give them highest attention to while analyzing the behavior of consumers?
Yeah, I'm going to reply that, just wanting to bounce back on the retention question, because in our case, it's very interesting because the retention is embedded in the product, because it's most of our customers are subscribers. You don't need to subscribe to be a member of Palate Club, but you can shop on the way. But it's mostly a subscription, such as Wine Club, in discovery mode. Wonderful. And the way we figure out the satisfaction of the customer and the retention and the LTV in the curves is because in our particular experience, we wrap the bottles with light tissue for blind tasting with a secret bottle number, so that we figure out with our data science the taste of people. And thanks to those ratings, we can measure how much, how customers are satisfied or not. So, and that of course is very much like the retention and the lifetime value. So the better the technology works, and better the customer is satisfied, the retention is higher, etc. So that's and in the past 6 months, we're pretty happy, because we all these figures have gone better. So we are happy to figure that our technology or data science stack is working. So on the behavior side, there has been an increase in average basket, but again, I think it's related to the fact that also previous subscribers, were a little bit more at home. So then there are also seasonal effects in our case, such as rosé in the summer. We launched rosé in June. So, of course, some of the customers added rosé to their basket, things like that. On the behavioral change, what is interesting is initially we had a hard time, for instance, to have people using the app where, they were just registering through the website, and then they kind of, it's actually a better experience in app, because we made a lot of efforts to make a easy to use app. And also, when you're tasting with friends or with family, it's just a better experience. So we've seen an increase in app usage. I'm not talking about smartphone versus app. I'm talking really about the app itself. And so it looks like if you look at global numbers, right, people are spending, of course, because they had to stay home, they have to spend more time on their screens.
Yes.
And I think the behavior shift is also even more digital. But at the same time, people are getting more frustrated if things are not like very simple or not working correctly. So they have a demand of service and of user experience, which has grown. So we have corrected a lot of. We've tried to learn there. Basically, we had a lot of customer feedback about, this feature is not so good, or they didn't understand this. And, in the case of wine, we want to make something which is actually complicated, very simplified and simple for the end user. It's part of the brand promise.
Mm-hmm.
So we've seen that the fact that they had more attention on things like wine was also linked to the fact that they wanted those features which were not necessarily used. They wanted them to be better, or they had basically gave us more feedback, and we have gathered a lot of more experience, I think, from the users, as if it wasn't the pandemic, where they would have done it a little bit lightly. So yeah, I mean, and then behavior changes in general is of course more time spent as well. So we had like our customers spend on average more time on our products due to the fact that they have more time for themselves probably.
Great.
Probably there are other topics, but
That's amazing. I think so. I think you're paying a lot of attention to the experience, because consumers are interacting on different formats. Basically, what they experience on a web store will be completely different, and on an app is completely different. And I think consumers are spending like more than 8 to 10 hours on their digital devices, and I think that experience defines whether from the visitor, whether they become the final customer or not. And because I think that is one of the major challenge that we notice, that uh, within the consumer behavior, uh, right from the visitor till the time they buy or make their first purchase, that's like a journey. And for that to become seamless, that experience what they have on the online store or within the app defines or plays a crucial role. So that's an excellent insight, Nicolas. The next question that I have for you, especially in today's time, with so much of content out there, like, and so many channels to which we can reach out to our target audience, which particular channel has worked best for you in terms of marketing, whether it is Google Ads, Facebook, Instagram, or any other channel? What, as per you, because you all are in different verticals, so which one do you prefer the most, or which one has given you the best ROI on your ad spend? Maybe Josh, if you could like to share some insight there.
You know, where we're seeing the biggest growth is in Facebook. Our consumer today is 40 and over, so we know that's where our consumer tends to spend the most amount of time, and the follow up with that using email marketing has really driven the growth of what we've seen over the last 2 years. So Facebook, number one, and then followed that up with email marketing, but most important, Facebook.
Wonderful, wonderful. How about you, Nicolas? After establishing this business, which
same as
channel?
Josh here. But it might change in the future. So these are like a little bit like early growth tactics where Facebook can work pretty well when you train the algorithms and you figure out how to reach your core customer group. So I agree that for most online consumer businesses, it works if you're doing the hard job behind it, because it's really hard to navigate, and you have also all sorts of people which are like basically claiming they know better, and so it's anyway. But no, my vision here is more that multi-channel. So we're building actually major partnerships with other consumer brands which are way more advanced than us, and because even cross-vertical marketing schemes when it makes sense. Like, I'm not going to give any names here, but think of people who deliver coffee at home, Of course, if it's, you know, very good coffee, it might be a good fit that people also like, you know, very good wine. People deliver flowers and, you know, very nice flowers. It's also, you know, you receive rosé bottle with roses. It's not too bad. So we're looking into these type of alternative type of partnerships. And in our case, we believe everything like virtual tasting. I didn't believe, my team was, you know, telling me, oh, we should go into that. I didn't believe too much that would work in the beginning. And after all, because people are stuck at home, they were very happy to learn about wine with a, you know, sommelier at the same time. And so virtual tasting and influencer matching as well. So there's like a lot of things you can grow. We're still exploring different ways. You know, the problem of the ROI, I want to say, is not, you can have very good ROI, but if it's not scalable, you know, you just get, okay, you get like a few hundred customers, but well, fine. So it's also about the scalability of it, right? So yeah, we're still exploring. Of course, email marketing is the backbone of all that, because anything you do should do lead generation, which you then address properly with proper email segmentation as well. Obviously, that's always the case in our case. I mean, we do that as well, of course.
Wow, that's excellent insight that you brought to the discussion, Nicolas, I must say, because this complementary, having these partnerships with the right partners, how it can go a long way. And because I think the partners are already serving that target audience that you are looking for, and having a handshake with them, wow, that's gonna be a game changer. Very few brands actually do that. I mean, with the traditional marketing, yes, once you can acquire those early adapters, but with this, new customers can be very easily acquired. Amazing. How about you, Stephanie? Which channel, like after establishing the brand, that you have found most resonating with your target audience and helped you in growth?
Yeah, so we use a lot of different channels, you know, just based on looking at companies that have grown significantly. They always dedicate some portion of their marketing budget to brand and some to direct response marketing. So we do the same. So I'd say for us, it's been 3 channels that work together nicely. On the brand side, obviously being able to work with Venus as a part owner and chief brand officer has been great. So press has actually been a big driver of both awareness and sales for us. And Venus does a lot of press interviews. So whether it's coverage on a new product or an interview with Venus about her self-care or beauty routine, and she mentions Asutra, that's great. What happens is that after the press, people then search for Asutra, or they're searching for solutions for, again, pain relief or sleep support. So from a direct response standpoint, Google has actually been our best performing channel with the strongest ROI that has scaled as we've spent more, which is really great. And then the third prong is once we get people visiting our site, they sign up for our email and we can market specifically to them via email.
That's a great insight there. And yeah, I think paid PR and I think the paid marketing and Google Ads can play a pivotal role in kind of making sure that you have that constant engagement with your funnel. All right. Moving on to the next question that I have for new set of channels that you guys look, basically, for example, TikTok, which has evolved as a channel over a period of time. How do you see TikTok as a channel for business growth? Maybe I would like to come to Nicolas.
Yeah, so well, TikTok is used by a lot by my 10-year-old daughter. And I sell so far wine with most of my customers are above 30 years old. So I think in the starting demographic, it doesn't look like the best fit. Oh, I think we lost him.
Yeah, you know what's interesting, Nicholas, about TikTok? I have a 8-year-old daughter that uses it as well. But what I found interesting, obviously the product market fit has to make sense there. But what's so interesting is that my wife is on there now more than my daughter is,
Oh.
because they're watching what the child is doing. So it's super interesting, where I actually think there's a real opportunity in, right? You have to have the right creative. The creative has to make, I think, sense for the channel. But adults are there, right? Whether it's looking what their child is doing, obviously for wine, and might be a little more challenging how to make it fun. And trust me, when I'm selling the swimsuits that I'm selling, may not make sense, but again, I think the product market fit has to make sense for the brand. But they're there, believe it or not. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, TikTok, was actually cut out in the middle, but I wanted to say the second part of it is that it's so massive that, of course, I consider it. It's not like I
Of
just say at
course.
the beginning, so sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. Stephanie, you can go.
Oh, well, I was actually I guess we'll just continue conversing, but Josh, I was going to ask you, so similar, I think, to your company, Asutra's core shopper is older too. So I was curious if you've experimented at all with TikTok and if it's worked for you, given who shops your brand.
So we've tried, a few different, I would say, influencer type people. So, what we've seen so far is that they, drove some traffic to the site, but, haven't really seen, that, ROI, return on ad spend, that we're looking for there yet. But I think, over time, how Instagram years ago started trending younger, and obviously moving older, how it is today, I think TikTok, I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. So I see it just over time trending there, but currently just not the main focus. So
Yeah,
now where do we go?
I don't know. It's going to be Black Friday, Cyber Monday soon. Want to talk about that? What are you guys planning?
It's still recording, right? So we can.
Yeah, of
it
course.
is still recording. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of what might be helpful for people that are watching out there.
So are you is everyone thinking about, this year being, every year I've seen personally year over year, everyone starts going a little earlier, right? 2 or 3 years ago, everyone waited until Black Friday. Year before, then it got to like maybe Thanksgiving Day before. Last year, people started going a week or two before, and I think now this year, and speaking to other colleagues, do you think it's going to go even earlier, meaning like November 1st?
Oh yeah, I think so. I mean, I've already personally been getting things previewing holiday sales, and everything that I'm reading in the market is that Black Friday, Cyber Monday promotions are going to start earlier. I think people, the other big elephant in the room is Amazon. So obviously Prime Day, which is their biggest sale of the year, is usually in July, but with their shipping issues, they pushed it to today and tomorrow. And so I think that actually also shifts the consumer behavior, because people were waiting for deals, but because now it's so close to holiday, they may actually be doing some advanced like holiday shopping because they can get deals on things that they would gift as well. We just kept talking about TikTok and then moved on to Black Friday, Cyber Monday while we were waiting for you to come back, Kuldeep.
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
Yeah, there has been a sudden drop, and it exited to me from Zoom. So sorry about that. Moving further, yes, I think the holiday season is on the charts, and because people are not traveling, they are going to spend a lot this time. And I think what other brands, our Amazon, for example, is starting the season very early. What are your strategies? I mean, where do you think the next 3 months for the last quarter for your business will be? What do you think? Anything in particular, Nicolas, that you're planning to do in terms of marketing?
Yeah, well, I'm not a big fan of big discounts because it's not too much what the brand conveys. You know, there's so many people doing discounts about wine, etc., and we are conveying quality and matching to your taste. Well, this is the main brand promise. Yes. So of course we're going to do a little bit of discounting there, but in the end, you know, the operation is you lose a lot of money on a lot of new customers who are just there for the discount. Where actually, well, our experience is basically that every time we try the heavy discount, we're attracting a lot of consumers which are not in our at all in our core addressable targeted market, right? They're just coming from the discount. They will never buy $17, $20 bottles of wine because they're not, that's not their position. So I'm not going to go into heavy discounts, despite we're going to do some stuff. What I'm more interested in the holiday season is gifting in the case of wine, more particularly because it's always a very nice gift. True. And we have a good gifting section now. And I think particularly in our case, it's a box with a tasting kit. So it's even better. It's not only wine, it's also an experience, right? So we're probably going to emphasize gifting there. But I'm not playing the game of the overhyped whatever discount and everything makes and it's super expensive to advertise. So I'm rather staying a little bit on the sidelines here.
That's a good strategy. Yeah, I think that's a great way to distinguish and kind of focusing on the quality and at the same time the experience. That's so that you can keep that cohesive throughout the customer life journey. Amazing. How about you, Josh? Anything in particular that your brand has kind of planned for the next 3 months?
Yeah, our whole thing that we're focusing on, and I think similar to Nicolas's, we're not really focused on the sale aspect. What we've learned is that the churn or the LTV of that customer is very low, right? All they're looking for is a discount, which, you know, doesn't make business sense unless it's, you know, clearance and we really need to move it, but we try to stay away from it to the best of our ability. Our focus really more is on, you know, the loyalty of our customer. How do we help them, or how do they help us spread the word? So where we're looking to incentivize is if, you know, by doing referrals, how do we help build their points in the system to allow them to, you know, continue, you know, buy the brand and really push that messaging forward. So we're hoping that their word of mouth, where we know in the next 45 days, the ad auction is going to be very expensive, one from a political standpoint, from an advertising, and then obviously everyone from a consumer standpoint, advertising. How do we let our customers do that, some of that work for us, and where everyone sees an advantage?
Great thought. I think that's a great that has a great advantage that you can get because I think once your consumers learn about the product and I think they become the advocates, wow, sky is the limit for growth. Amazing. Stephanie, I would like to come to you, and you have a very strong person like Venus, like which is kind of a custodian for your brand. I mean, she's a great role model for the entire world. And what are some of the things that Venus has kind of shared or probably has taught you as a sports person? I mean, and how do you connected it within your business? I think it's a very different question, I thought, because people look up to her. I mean, she's a winner, and she proves every now and then. And what one or two things that you learned from her that you incorporate within your business?
Well, I can't wait to share with her your reaction because she's obviously been on the world stage for forever. I mean, ever since she was a kid, and she's blazed so many trails for so many women and so many athletes, particularly athletes of color. So it's great to hear you say that. Well, I'd love to, if I can just take a couple of seconds, I'd love to tell the story of how she came to us, and then I'll share one or two nuggets that she's definitely taught me. So the best part about Venus and Asutra is that she actually came to us. We did not set out to establish a partnership with a celebrity or a major influencer. Her team actually cold called us after learning
Wow.
that she was using our pain relief creams as part of her training regimen. Her trainer found them online and she really loved them, but she'd never heard of Asutra. So she said, hey, go find out about this brand. And when she found out about our mission of active self-care, which she obviously has to live every day, that we're women-owned, women-led, and dedicated to creating good jobs in Chicago, she got really excited about what we stand for and wanted to be part of the team.
Wow.
The great thing about Venus is not only is she this incredible leader and spokesperson for so many things, for example, pay equity in women's tennis, she's also an entrepreneur. So she has two businesses of her own, a sports apparel company that is mostly e-commerce, and then an interior design company. She's really passionate about design.
Yeah.
So she's really taught us a lot, I think, about how do you build a strong brand over time? She's done that personally. She's done that with her businesses.
Yes.
And then interestingly, I'll go to the opposite end of the spectrum. As we started exploring retail distribution about a year ago, she had worked with a lot of the retailers we were considering for her apparel brand. So she was able to give us very specific, concrete advice about types of retailers that would be a good fit and the things you have to negotiate versus those that might not. So that was kind of surprising, but great advice to get.
Wow, I must say that's a great story. So I think because like the way things connect, I mean, you build a brand, you build your product, and you have your early adopters, and you have someone that the world looks up to, has looked up to you and your brand and discovered about you. Wow, that's like a great serendipity that can happen for a brand and how it can help the brand. Because I think it's the purpose that all of you have, which is ultimately putting your customers first and serving them. Ultimately, customers are the kings and they define, because ultimately when customers win, I think the brands win. That's how I think the retail business is. And especially for D2C segment, the consumers behavior is so dynamic that the loyalties can shift from one brand to another. So the only way that can help the brand in future growth is whether the product is always giving them that experience. So I think that's a great story. I think it's gonna really, really inspire a lot of brands that how Venus has found you, and I think they can also work backwards on their product front. Excellent. While we have the next couple of minutes left for this panel discussion, which is coming to an end, I would like to come to all of you individually and ask you that one piece of advice that you would like to give to budding entrepreneurs or people who are already running e-commerce or retail businesses that they can adopt. That one piece of advice like that they can quickly pick it up as a takeaway and implement within their business. Maybe I can ask Nicolas, from your whole 2 decades of experience in business, what is that one piece of advice, Nicolas?
Grit.
Yeah.
You need to hold on, not forever, because in certain cases you can translate this into, whatever, I continue, I wrote. Actually, what you need to do is go really full until you don't listen to the naysayers. Don't be like, all the negative around that you don't get your first customers or investors say no, which is very normal in the process. You just have to consider that part of the process, right? So my advice here is to say, just continue as much as you can, believe product market fit, listen to customers. And then, at some point, if you're kind of stuck, then you start to move on the line and you create another path and so on. So I see it like this, right? So, and then there are many ways to express that, of course, operationally, and but it is, I've seen too often, entrepreneurs which are actually not too far away from the goal, then, to start to give up this and that or be demotivated. You can't do that job if you lose motivation at the first hurdle. Then you should do something else, right? So just continue. It's a hard journey. If you look at, and I'm going to finish with that, at most successes are not like Facebook types, right? Like, I'm starting a company in my whatever dorm after high school, and then suddenly it's a billion-dollar company. Most successes come with a lot of iteration, a lot of like learning, and after years of basically producing something, and then suddenly you reach that moment of inflection. So it's a hard process, and sometimes it takes 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years. So, and you should just follow your instincts and with grit.
Wow, wonderful. Excellent insight. Thank you, Nicolas. Josh, from your leadership experience in the field of e-commerce and marketing, what is that one key advice that you would like to give?
So I'm going to take a different path. I'm going to actually give 2 actionable insights that will help grow, that I found help grow revenue for people that I think they can take right away. One is respond to comments in your ads. You'd be surprised how many of your potential consumers are reaching out to you there, and they're not answered. And you'd be surprised how many people are reading those comments as they're learning about your brand. Really respond to them in a timely manner. Really will help fuel the growth because they know that there's a person or a company behind the brand that will stand behind it. And number 2 is pay attention to your email. You'd be surprised how much revenue can be driven out of email marketing where people don't really pay that much attention. You should be looking for 30 to 35% of your revenue coming from email. It's definitely doable. You just have to put the time, energy, and effort. But it's there for you for the taking to help grow that lifetime value of that customer.
Wow, excellent thought there, Josh. Stephanie, coming back to you, what is that one piece of advice from your learnings so far that you would like to give that can help any new business?
I would say know your North Star. Where do you want to head? What's your purpose in your business? And what do you want to accomplish? And if you see there's a real need or fit for that, don't back off. But know that getting there may take many, many different paths, and they will probably change. So also be willing to pivot. We have all had to pivot during this year for a variety of reasons. As an entrepreneur with an emerging brand, you have to pivot as you figure out what's really going to work and what doesn't.
Wow, excellent insight there. I must say, wow, this has been an excellent panel discussion with all of you here. And I must say the key takeaways that probably I've picked up, I'll try to summarize what Nicolas has mentioned about grit. I think it resonated with one of the book's title. I'm unable to recall the name of the author, but I think business is like running a marathon. We are running some short sprints, but it's a marathon, and it's like an ever evolving journey where we have to learn and learn about the consumer behavior and keep on serving the consumers the best possible manner. And that's how you grow. Excellent thought there, Nicolas. I must say, thank you so much for sharing that. And what Josh has touched upon, those 2 key actionable insights, well, because most of the time they go unnoticed, because I think that review that someone writes can really be a game changer once it is incorporated in maybe the process improvement. And it still reminded me, like I was reading the Amazon story and where they were trying to fix a problem in consumer service, where if someone calls, how quickly someone can respond back, what's the whole time, and they fixed it. And well, they become the best consumer-centric company on the world and in the globe. And what Stephanie has mentioned, pivoting and how it can help the brand. And that's, I believe all of you have been an excellent entrepreneurs and leaders, and you're going to inspire generation of leaders. I think leaders like you begets more leaders. And I think this 60 minutes have been very, very interesting in terms of the experiences that you shared, the nuances that you touched upon, how you have built your brand, how you are taking it to the next level. And people will get a chance to learn more from your experiences. I would really like to say thank you so much once again on behalf of my team at Enalito for taking out time. And we would love to learn more about you and about your work and about your brand, and would love to help you grow to the next level. Thank you so much, Nicolas. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Thank you so much, Josh.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you.